Welcome to Rock Solid, the Round Rock Business Leaders Podcast. Join your host, Bryan Eisenberg, as he explores the journeys of entrepreneurs and companies across Round Rock, Texas. From startups and nonprofits to large organizations, each guest shares their passion for doing business in this thriving community. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. It's Bryan Eisenberg from Rock Solid, and I'm here with Carolyn Lane from Cosmic Egg Wellness. Welcome, and I'm excited to have you as a guest today.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I first got to see what you do at the Young Professionals. Yes, I'm a young professional, in case you didn't notice.
Under 40.
Yeah, something like that. Event where you did a sound bath for everybody. So I just want to kind of dive into that because we got to get over what the sound bath is, and the buzz that people had from that is what really got my attention. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I started my journey doing my yoga teacher training, and then during that, I met a couple of women that I got along with really well. And they said to me, we're going to go do this sound bath training. Do you want to come? And I was like, okay, I don't have anything to do. Sure, I'll go and do this. And I fell in love with it. Mm-hmm. So I got my training through Soul Strong Yoga, who is they're phenomenal. And I ended up being the only one out of all of us that actually does it consistently and who has kind of incorporated it into my business. So with sound baths, my whole approach is basically you can make this whatever you want it to be. Mm-hmm. So if you want to explore the chakras, we can do that. That's your journey. Or if you just want to take a nap, that's okay too. So I'm not here to force you in any which direction. It's really about your journey, and I'm just here to facilitate it.
Yeah, I mean, several people told me they had different emotional experiences while they were going through it.
Yes.
How does that occur?
It's about frequencies, essentially, is what it boils down to. And I personally believe that once people really sink into that and they start to relax, that's when your emotions are going to come to the surface. So I've had people cry. Mm-hmm. And I usually hand out little eye masks or eye pillows, and I've had a woman return it, and it was soaking wet. And I do have removable covers, thankfully. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, people cry. I personally have felt angry in them before, where just physically I was mad, and there was nothing happening. It was just like I got to that space where I was so relaxed that emotion was able to come to the forefront. So I think that's why those emotions come up for people, and I do like to remind them that feelings aren't facts, and that it's kind of like the tide; they come and go.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've done a lot of study into frequency and frequency healing and stuff like that, and a lot of people don't know this, but before the traditional medical system, we had all these big churches in a lot of the European cities. Mm-hmm. I know you spent a lot of time in Europe.
Yes.
And those bells had frequencies that were healing. And we've kind of moved so far away from that in today's world. Why do you find it so valuable for people to kind of experience this?
I think that people are really craving community first and foremost. And when you do these sound baths, you do kind of come together under a broad umbrella. Mm-hmm. And I find that really valuable also. I don't know why we've moved away from it. I think a lot of it has to do with fear. I think a lot of Western medicine, although it has its place, so I'll never, ever discredit it, ever. But I do think that a lot of that turns into this fear base. Then you have the whole woo-woo component, which I can't stand that word, or my kids call me a full-on hippie. So I think that these tag words come up, and it kind of deters people from doing it, but there's really nothing wrong with approaching it from a place of curiosity.
Rock Solid is produced and recorded at Round Rock Studio. Located right here in Round Rock, our state-of-the-art studio is built for podcasters and creatives alike. We offer multiple professionally designed podcast sets, top-notch recording gear, and a full photography studio ready for any project. Whether you're launching a new podcast or upgrading your existing one, we can help with multi-camera recording, editing, and everything you need for success. Record with us at Round Rock Studio, your local podcasting partner.
Here you are, telling me your kids call you a hippie, and you've got a business called Cosmic Egg Wellness.
I sure do.
Okay, so how did that name come out? Because if that's not a little hippie, I'm not sure what is.
Look, there's nothing wrong with being a tree hugger, flat out. Like, I was raised by one, so totally hippie is not necessarily negative connotation. But Cosmic Egg Wellness came from the yoga side of it. And then I am also a postpartum doula.
Yes.
So I was thinking about ways to kind of incorporate both of those. And essentially, Cosmic Egg is a posture in yoga.
Okay.
But also, we all came from an egg. Babies were eggs. We're all eggs. So that's kind of how it came together. And I'm not very serious. I do love to joke a lot. And if you come to any of my events, I can't help myself. Things just kind of fly out of my mouth. And I'm like, well, it's out there now.
It's an experience.
So it is an experience. And so Cosmic Egg was kind of a play on my personality. And then the two things that I really love and that were very helpful for me as an adult.
I love that. And what's interesting is, you told us earlier, your background is your dad was in advertising, and so it's part of what you traveled. How did his influence kind of guide your decisions in the business world?
Well, it's funny. I was just talking about this yesterday. My dad in advertising flat out was like, if you go into advertising, I'm going to kill you. So that was a big deterrent. But doing the marketing side of what I do, which is the less glamorous, or it's not really where my passion is, but it's a necessary component.
Absolutely.
Learning a lot from my dad, just kind of going into the office with him when I was little and things he would bring home or going on photo shoots. So there's a lot of that I learned kind of through osmosis, I guess.
What's probably one of the biggest lessons you took from him?
That's a tricky one because my dad has a lot of really good things. Well, one thing that he told me, which may not be applicable in this, but he said, you can teach your kids to walk and talk, but what you need to do is teach them to shut up and sit down. So I've kind of taken that into play, too, in regards to the Cosmic Egg sound bath component, because I do events that are 2 hours. So I'll do an hour of restorative yoga followed by an hour sound bath, because you can't expect people to just come in straight off the streets from their busy days and just shut up and sit down, essentially. So I like the leaning into the restorative yoga component that gives them that opportunity to settle. So, I mean, it's not necessarily a direct lesson, but it's something that has kind of spurred other thoughts and triggered other.
You need to have that transition time to kind of get their mind and body in the right place to do what you do. You mentioned also you're a doula as well. So let's talk a little bit about how that came about and how you're approaching that in this community.
So my oldest daughter was born in Brooklyn, and
Go Brooklyn.
She loves it. She identifies hardcore with Brooklyn. But essentially, I was working in clubs and restaurants, which, as you know, they close at 4. You don't leave until 6. If you even go home, I mean, it's like a whole thing. So that's really where I was, and I was doing a lot of events and then working in these clubs, and then got married and had a baby. And all of a sudden, I went from having a lot of friends and people around and out and about to like crickets, and there was nothing or very little. And I felt really lonely, and I just couldn't figure out, like, is there something wrong with me? What's happening? I didn't know which way to turn, and my family didn't live close by. So I started to explore postpartum doula work, and that's how I got started into it, because I thought really women shouldn't have to feel this, and it goes beyond just the birth giver. Partners, they often feel misplaced or left out or don't know how they fit, and even the dog. Or the fish, like, who's going to take care of your fish? Who's going to help you around the house? And that's kind of what spurred that for me.
Yeah, we just had the pitch competition a few weeks ago, and Suzette from Totbox Play Cafe was there, and one of her slides was talking about, how much postpartum depression is and how lonely moms can feel, and it's one of the reasons behind her cafe. How can you help some of maybe the women in this community who don't know that this even exists, who are probably, in their homes suffering quietly, to know more about how you can help them?
We really have to normalize a lot of this, and even things like, your baby's born and then you're expected to get your body back, and, which I hate that also is really, it's not realistic, but just being a presence and making sure that we normalize these conversations is of the utmost importance. I'm out there and I'm here and I'm ready and I'm receptive to it. I do have open hours between 1 and 3 where women can come in. So whether you're feeling overwhelmed or maybe you have a diaper blowout or maybe you just are like, oh, someone take my baby for a minute. It's just that freedom to kind of come and go in that sanctuary and that safe space so that women in the community know that I'm here.
That's phenomenal because it's you can have moments.
Yeah. Oh, they're there.
And
they don't stop when the babies grow up either.
And do you see some of those women, besides obviously being there as part of this community, do you see them kind of moving towards the other work that you do as they progress with their journey?
Yes, absolutely. And I do have women coming in who are very far removed from having a newborn. And I love that. It's just like a transit kind of spots, right? Like you're in between phases of life. And once women come in for prenatal yoga, often there's a lot of curiosity about some of the other things, and it's never pressure filled. If it speaks to you, come on over. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. I'm still here in whatever capacity I can be.
That's awesome. Now, I know there's all kinds of different yoga. I'm not an expert in yoga by far, but I know enough that there's different varieties of it. If someone were to come to your studio, what would they expect from the type of yoga that you're doing with them?
It's really, really dependent, which I know is very vague, but essentially I had one class where I had a early 30 pregnant lady. I had a 50-year-old and her 20-year-old daughter, and then I had a 68-year-old. So that was really like I basically had to throw my lesson plan out the window and kind of modify for each person, but I love that challenge. And I also love it because my classes are really about community and coming together as opposed to a specific yoga structure. So I am not a forever yoga studio. I feel very much like I'm this transit, so I can help you get back into your regular yoga. So, and if you want to stay with me forever, you're welcome to stay with me forever. But it's just essentially this community and coming together and working with each individual as they need it.
I find that answer almost a little bit of a paradox with you because, that expression of a rolling stone never gathers moss, and you've traveled around so much. What made you decide that this community is a great place to kind of let that moss come in and build that community around you?
I love this question. So I have moved a ton, and even within each place that I've stayed. So New York was 13 years. I moved all the time.
Yep.
And even being in Austin for 12, I've moved all the time. And I was in South Austin, and that's where I was until consistently about 2 years ago. And I found that South Austin is really kind of cornered the market. They've nailed it in regards to all the things, hippie and woo-woo, or however you want to phrase it. And I know that community is up here. And I know that if you build it, they will come, essentially. And I was looking for my people and struggling to find it. And I thought this is a great place to lay down roots because a lot of people are curious, just like me. And they're craving this. They just don't know where to go. And I was very resistant about being in Round Rock. 100% was like, Round Rock? I know IKEA, period. And then getting up here and discovering all of this has been such a delight for me, and I love it.
What were some of the big things that you just absolutely fell in love with?
With Round Rock?
Yeah.
Not IKEA. The people.
There's a place for IKEA.
There is. I love IKEA, and I have definitely, my 20s, most of my budget probably went to
and
IKEA.
And you've got girls who might be going off to college.
Oh, yes.
You'll be in IKEA
no,
plenty.
I will never knock IKEA, ever. But really, I've found a lot of very small niche things, like the crystal shops that are starting to pop up, or people who are curious about things, or the little cafes that are not chains. I don't know. It's just this exploration, and it's like this eyes wide open. Like I'm just scanning and looking for all things here. And I also really love a lot of the outdoor activities that are up here that I had no idea existed. They're like little gems. And I'm not telling you where they are because then everyone will go there.
Okay. Well, instead of those outdoor activities, give us a hidden gem that people should explore that, they need a shout out. A lot of people don't know about them.
I love the Mind's Eye that opened recently, and then underneath is the Crystal Shop and Unearthed.
Okay.
They're super, super cool. I love Wildflower Wellness Med Spa. We're sweet mates, and I absolutely adore her. We knew each other previously, but then, actually working together. I'm like, wow, I really like you. I like you too. We should hang out. The downside of that is that we often end up talking and not working. But so
Pros and cons.
Pros and cons, 100%. So those are just some of the places that I really love. Oh, and the Ruby Hotel. Oh my gosh, I love that place so much. Those are my favorites.
Have you seen Dina Kavanaugh there?
No.
Oh yeah, that's her favorite spot. She's giving them a big shout out as well. It's to her cocktails and
they're so good. And I beeline for that bar when I get there, and they recognize me, for better or for worse.
Well, we got to make sure you guys connect because
I love them.
Yeah, they're a special place. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. As a business owner and trying to find your roots here, what were some of the biggest maybe struggles or obstacles that you faced?
I think just getting out into the community and not really knowing where to start. Mm-hmm. Also, the whole tech side of things is definitely challenging for me. So overcoming that. I actually made my first TikTok. And when I started recording it, I just at one point was like, this is ridiculous. And I just stopped recording. I'm like, I can't do that. So the tech thing I'm getting over, but also the exposure of it because, as I mentioned before, South Austin, it's everywhere. Mm-hmm. And up here, it's a little bit quieter still. People are just kind of starting to come out and look for it. So that's probably the biggest challenge is finding people who are into it, but they don't know where to go either.
So what kinds of things have you been able to do to kind of start getting people to recognize you, besides obviously being here?
Yes, I love events. So my background is in events. So that's one thing that I love doing, and it's like second nature to me. I love it. I thrive in it. I love having ideas of different ways to get exposure. So I just did on Wednesday a Wild Moon Mavens, which is the first one I've done.
Okay.
So that is going to be on the Wednesday before each new moon because there's so much focus on the full moon. But the new moon is like the baby of the cycle. So
the cosmic egg.
Correct.
Yeah,
so
I like
they all
that.
tie in together. But that's something that's just kind of bringing people together where we explore things with curiosity. Everything is with curiosity. I am not an authority on any of these subjects, but I'm curious. So let's explore it together.
I love that word. In fact, when my brother and I owned our first agency, the number one thing we hired people for in a marketing agency was their curiosity.
Yes.
Because with curiosity, you can teach anything. Mm-hmm. But if you just kind of want to do your thing and just think you already know it all, there's no room for growth.
No, there isn't. And that's everything. Approach everything in life with curiosity. And actually, one of my best friends is the one who first brought that to my attention. I was struggling and just kind of caught in that hamster wheel and how do I and who am I and what and all of those things. And they were like, just pause and look at this from a curiosity standpoint. And it's true. It doesn't just have to mean, food or traveling or the other perks in life, but the negativity also. So even fear. Where does this come from? Why? And what can I do? Can I? How? All of those things. And it is so powerful.
I'm curious.
Oh.
No pun intended. You said this is your first podcast experience. What would you expect as an outcome from this podcast and getting it out into the community?
I don't know that I have expectations, to be totally honest. Okay. I've met you a couple of times and enjoyed speaking with you each time. And I thought, why not? And I don't know, it's just fun to talk and to be able to sit down, relax, and maybe somebody hears it and, maybe it's just my mom. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping people see it, and I'm hoping that they also approach things with curiosity and think maybe I should reach out and kind of see what this is about. So even though my center is female oriented, I do have events that encompass other people. So it's
the YP event, the Young Professional events, there was a mixed crowd, obviously.
Yeah. And partners are important. So there's no reason we can't incorporate them, but it is female-centered. So I don't know, honestly. I think that's just the truthful answer. I don't know what I'm going to get out of this. Let's see. Let's be curious about it.
Let's be curious and see. Where do you see your business going over the next 2-3 years?
I also was thinking, it's like you're asking me questions I've been pondering over the last week.
I'm a mind reader.
I know, this is wild. I love the intimacy of the space. The studio is very, very small, max 10 people, and that's like New York style yoga. That's like, an inch in between the mats there. but I love it. I love that it's small. So the idea of expanding isn't necessarily where I want to go with it, but I do have a vision of something where I can offer something else. Like maybe it's a infrared sauna, or maybe it's a meditation room or a library or something like that. So it would be really awesome if I could grow just enough so that I don't necessarily have more people, because then you lose that intimacy.
Yeah.
But maybe there's just a slightly different offering that I can add.
Well, I'm a big person about having clarity about your beliefs and your mission and your purpose, what your North Star is.
Mm-hmm.
And if I take anything away from our conversation today, is intimacy and community is really what you prioritize above everything else.
100%.
Where does that come from?
I think a lot of that has to do with traveling as much as I did, and just kind of having to find my space, staying true to who I am also. And definitely the teenage years were a little bit dicey in that regard, and because girls can be so mean, oh my gosh. But just, I think, always finding my community and having to be patient with that and that connection. So I am not a big out in a million people kind of person either.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm what they call an extroverted introvert now.
Yep.
But I think it's always been important to me to find those people and those one-on-one connections. They're so powerful. I find them more powerful than being in front of a million people.
Fair enough. Now, you've got 3 daughters.
I have 6 kids total.
6 kids total, okay.
Yes,
6
but I
kids
birthed
total.
3 of them.
Birthed 3 of them, okay. And some of them are in the school district here.
Yes.
And what are your hopes for them as they keep exploring school here and, go beyond college? Maybe do you hope to come back? What are you thinking?
I feel like I've kind of lived my journey and carved out my own path, and now it's their turn. So it's really not my place, I feel, to push them in any direction. Mm-hmm. And they are very, very different as individuals, which is very awesome to see. I didn't have babies to keep them babies. I had babies to raise, hopefully, positive, contributing members of society. And I love watching them grow and kind of diving into all the things that they like. And actually, my oldest daughter, the one that was born in Brooklyn, she talked to the midwife who delivered her yesterday because she's thinking about being a labor and delivery nurse and possibly a midwife. So that is really cool. My middle daughter's in dance, and the Walsh dance program is phenomenal.
Yep.
And then my youngest just kind of, she does what she does. And they're like, you can tell her no all you want, but she's
the youngest.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, and
if people want to get to know you better or get to learn more about your business or find out any of the events you're doing, how can they find you?
The website and Instagram are probably my 2 best friends right now. And then my phone number is on there too. If people have questions, they're always welcome to reach out that way. Text is always best, to be honest, because I'm so busy and typically don't answer my phone or see it. But yeah, website, so cosmiceggwellness.com, and then Instagram are the 2 easiest.
Terrific. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. It was really nice chatting with you, and I will see you soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely.